Well, while Nigeria was undergoing the highs and lows of her election season, over in South Africa, the electricity crisis is now posing a political headache for the country's government. In a cautionary tale of how a major economic crisis could trigger an even bigger political crisis, the government of South Africa is under immense political pressure from nationwide protests this past week due to the deepening electricity crisis and unemployment, even as the country's central bank estimates that South Africa loses more than, get this, $50 million a day in GDP due to power shortages, and the crisis is projected to cost more than $30 billion alone in 2023. This is a fortune. In the private sector, Shoprite, SA's biggest supermarket chain, said it had spent $30 million on diesel for generators in the first half of 2022 alone, hitting the company's profits. A number of political movements in those protests are calling for President Cyril Ramaphosa to step down. Recently, South Africa did appoint a new electricity minister in a bid to deal with the problem, but he soon, after being appointed, actually stated that the problem would get worse. In fact, the government has had to backstop $14 billion of Eskom debt to prevent the state electricity monopoly's financial collapse. Of course, South Africa has had load shedding since 2008, but 15 years down the line, hopes that new power plants helping to tackle the issue have not been realized. I think what the South Africa situation further reinforces is just how closely linked economic stability and development is to critical infrastructure such as power. SA's GDP shrank by 1.3% at the end of 2022 due to this crisis. In fact, the central bank expects GDP to grow by only 0.3% this year as a result. Food for thought there for African governments and politicians. Well, that's all on Business Week this week. I'll be here same time next week to bring you more top stories and analysis on global business. Send me your tweets with your thoughts. I'm Rolake Akigwe Filani. Bye for now.